Did you know that segment tonight? Fox News anchor Jenna Lee. You see her along with John Scott at 11 a.m. Eastern Time here on FNC. Miss Lee has a fascinating background. So you were brought up in San Francisco.
San Francisco.
California girl. Was it a liberal city back then when you were growing up?
You know what? I'm from a family that's not very political at all. I don't even know if my parents are Democrat or Republican now. We just weren't very political.
To this day.
Yeah, we don't really even talk about that. That's not dinner time conversation. So I guess it is a very liberal city if you look at some of the headlines, but it's diverse as well.
Your father, former NFL quarterback, before you were born, appeared in 3 Super Bowls, actually threw a touchdown pass in one of them for the Minnesota Vikings.
Bob Lee, a former Minnesota Viking for 4 years, came in, turned things around. He's won 5 straight.
Him being a famous football player, did that affect you as a child?
I think it did, because he really instilled upon us the value of practice and repetition, and that you could have a certain amount of talent, but that you really needed to practice on a regular basis. So he was our little league baseball coach, and we practiced a lot.
So you went to University of California, Santa Barbara, very kind of swanky school, you know. Right?
I mean, swanky, I don't know. I was a double major, and I was a little bit of a nerd. I know it's hard to believe, but I spent a lot of hours at the library.
Double major in what?
I was an English major and global and international studies.
Global and international studies. Okay. So then you graduate and you, again, you're working in a variety of different jobs. What made you transition into journalism?
In the back of my mind, I always wanted to be a writer. I always really loved journalism. My grandfather was a journalist for the Associated Press, and although he passed away, you know, really before I was able to share stories with him, I was always fascinated with his career.
Now, then you start your career, and you also get married, and your husband is a former Navy SEAL.
That's right.
Now, I did not know this, but he was in a platoon with the American sniper, Chris Kyle,
That's
correct?
Right.
I just want to get the bad guys, but if I can't see them, I can't shoot them.
Tell us about that.
That particular platoon was a very unique and very successful platoon. And my husband was the platoon chief. He was the officer that went out on these missions. He, of course, did a lot of work with Chris Kyle as well.
And this is in Iraq?
This is in Iraq. This is specifically in Ramadi.
What did he tell you about Kyle? What did he? What was the deal there?
Well, I think that they were all very colorful personalities.
That's for sure.
In that platoon, for sure. You know, when Leif reflects back on his time in Iraq, he really reflects back on the missions that were not quite as successful. And he talks a lot about Chris Kyle's success and their success as a team. You
get to Fox News, not an easy thing to do.
No.
And I'm not saying that because everybody wants to work here, because we're the most successful, I think, news operation in the world right now. How did that happen? I mean, how'd you get over? Were you just lucky?
I think I was lucky, and I think there was a lot of good timing as well. I was working at Forbes.com. We did a lot of online videos for the business world of news, right? And I was looking up at CNBC and Bloomberg, and I was seeing everyone that I was interviewing was being interviewed in those networks as well. So I thought, I'm going to toss my hat in the ring. I've never been on television before, but maybe they'll consider me. Who knows? And so I apply, and I get rejected. And that made sense to me. I didn't have any experience, and that apparently was the feedback. She has no experience. We can't hire her. But I asked, could they give me a little bit more feedback? What can I do over the next 6 months that could give me a little bit better resume? And so when we asked that question, I get the feedback that it's not just my lack of experience, it's my voice. In fact, it's my accent.
Your accent?
That I have a really tough accent.
Valley girl accent?
Well,
what kind of accent?
Are you saying that I have that now? Are you hearing that right now?
I don't know.
Bit like,
I'm
oh my God.
trying to figure out what accent it is.
Well,
You're from San Francisco.
I was too. But see, my full name is Jennifer Lee, and I always went by Jennifer Lee until I got to Fox. And what I found out is that there was another Jennifer Lee who had applied, and they had never actually seen my reel. And so by following up, they saw the reel. I got the interview.
You mixed up with somebody else.
Absolutely.
Who had an accent.
Who had an accent.
Wow, how outrageous. All right, then they team you up with John Scott.
Welcome to Happening Now, everybody. I'm Jenna Lee.
I'm John Scott.
I've known him since World War II.
Really?
Yeah, we were at Inside Edition together. and he's a problem. I don't know how you put up with Scott every day.
He's really, I know. Any advice on what I should do over the next several years?
I'd lock him in the basement if I could. I mean, that's really the only thing I can figure out. All right. Jenna, thanks for coming in. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right.